So, you're Inter Milan, a club with a rich Champions League history. In fact, you last won it in 2010 under Jose Mourinho. But right after, you went from UCL glory to almost a complete collapse, but you found stability again, won a Scudetto under Antonio Conte, and now you want to get back to playing in high-stake UCL games. What do? I don't know, maybe you have Conte, who's considered by many as one of the best managers in world football, and he can certainly help you with that. But no, he can only get you into the group stages, not past it. So what do again? How about you hire Simone Inzaghi? For those who don't know, Simone Inzaghi is the little brother of famous AC Milan striker Filippo Inzaghi. He played most of his professional career as a striker for Lazio, and after he retired, he started coaching in Lazio's academy until he jumped to the first team, and as a manager at Lazio, he won a Coppa Italia and 2 Supercoppas. So, Inter Milan are yet in another UCL final after beating their Milan rivals 3-0 aggregate in the semis, but however, their path there is far from being a simple one. After finding themselves in the so-called group of death where Bayern Munich and Barcelona were the clear favorites to advance, Inter slowly but surely made it out the group in second place and knocked out FC Porto, Benfica, and their arch rivals AC Milan in the semis. But how did they make it here? Well, it's all thanks to the amazing work done under Simone Inzaghi. See, when Inzaghi came to Inter, they were in a panic mode. They had just won the Serie A, but the architect of that title, Conte, had just left the club in an unusual way. Key players also left. Hakimi went to PSG, Lukaku went back to Chelsea, Eriksen would get a heart attack that will prevent him from playing in Italy, and finally, Ivan Perisic would also join Conte at Spurs. Now, since Inter didn't have a lot of money to spend in the market, they had to find smart ways to replace some of these departures. So they brought Andre Onana from Ajax, picked up Çalhanoğlu at Milan, Edin Dzeko and Mkhitaryan from Roma, Acerbi at Lazio, all for completely free. They also took Gosens from Atalanta, bought Dumfries to replace Hakimi, brought Correa, and were loaned Lukaku just after a year they sold him to Chelsea for 115 million euros. Now Inzaghi has to do the work with these players, and unlike Conte, who was complaining about not being back, Inzaghi's hands are tied, so he'll have to play with the cards he's got. Inzaghi's crazy gimmicks on the touchline might make you think he's one of them crazy coaches, but outside the field, Inzaghi is actually seen as one of the players. Bastoni had this to say about him. He said Inzaghi gave them freedom and reminded them that football is just a game, and among the coaches he's had, Gasperini and Conte are always on the spot. Inzaghi and Mancini, in addition to their very strong commitment, take care of the human side, and the result is that you are more relaxed in crucial moments. Now inside the pitch is where I think Inzaghi deserves massive praise, because when he arrived at Inter, he didn't drastically look to change everything, as this was already a competitive team he inherited. He just tried to play a more pressing and possession-based system, but quickly realized it wasn't working. They were leaking goals and he came under massive pressure, so he went back to basics and haven't looked back since. Watch Lukaku explain this better.
I think at one point, the start of the season, we tried at one point to play the high press, which is not our biggest strength, because the team won the league a few years ago playing counter-attacking football. Then last year it was a bit of a mix of flair, but still having the counter-attack. And this year we tried to change for the first 6 months, and we conceded a lot of goals in the first few games. And in this league, defense wins. Defense wins the championship. So at one point the managers just said, you know what, let's go back to our strengths from before. Let's just be compact and go from there and go forward as fast as possible. And I think that's where it started clicking, and we started scoring a lot of goals and winning games and conceding less.
Some important decisions Inzaghi had to make was benching veteran and captain goalkeeper Handanovic. I mean, someone had to do it at some point. Handanovic, as much as I respect him, is not the keeper who's gonna keep you long in such a competition. He just made too many mistakes. Stefan de Vrij also became a liability in defense, so he benched him. And lastly, he replaced Brozovic with Mkhitaryan and shifted Çalhanoğlu at the 6th role, not because Brozovic decreases quality, but it just gives Inter a different outlook. Brozovic is more of a technical player who dictates tempo, but Çalhanoğlu offers you brute force and long-range shots. Lukaku starting off the bench and coming on is also nailed perfectly because he can really be a threat against tired defenders with his pace and strength. Simone Inzaghi is known for being a very good tactician, deploying a 3-5-2 that looked like this. As you can see, Onana in goal is really important to how this Inter plays. Not only he's got the most saves in this UCL, which you need in these competitions, a great goalkeeper is always a good asset, but also he's great with his feet and his ball distribution is excellent. He can ping one to either the left or right wing back, or play a line breaking pass when necessary. The inclusion of Acerbi at center back has made immediate impact. Acerbi, who I personally thought was a washed-up defender at Lazio last season, is excelling under Inzaghi. Bastoni or whoever plays at right center back, whether it is Darmian or Skriniar, now have more freedom to push up with the ball, and Bastoni especially is really benefiting from that freedom, as he can sometimes satisfy his attacking fantasies, and he can also deliver good crosses for the strikers to attack. Di Marco's resurgence at left wing back is also a big factor in how this Inter plays. He can send a searching ball for either striker, or he can cross one to the back post for the other wing back to attack on some occasions. In midfield with Mkhitaryan, Barella and Çalhanoğlu, you have more of an attacking midfield that could bring you a few goals sometimes. Up top, Lautaro Martinez has been nothing short of excellent since the end of the World Cup. Surely having the captain's armband has given him a lot of confidence, and Dzeko is doing quite well at his age, and at the moment Lukaku is just sensational. So overall, Inzaghi has managed to build a team that works well together, and the addition of experience in the squad has taken this team to new heights. Some of these players he's brought have the experience of playing in these types of games, and they can give everything in 1 or 2 games, because unlike a league, you don't have to stay consistent and play every week, which might be hard for some of these old players. So this was how Simone Inzaghi changed Inter and made them a UCL contender. He switched up a few things, got them playing at their strength, and now they're in the final. And hopefully he can find the keys to make them better next season, especially domestically, as he's been on the brink of a sack for some of the poor performances of his team in the league.